Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Companion, and I am Peter. Over there on the monitor, standing next to the rewinder, probably blowing a VCR. This is not how I meant it, but watch party. How you doing, sir?
Be kind, rewind,
That's right, indeed. Did you
blow
ever
with both lips.
both lips, not just one? I don't know if you could blow one. You just be flapping.
Yeah,
But did you ever work at any of those places? The your
I
blockbusters, your
have
Hollywood videos?
not. I
Never.
think
Okay.
I think I did apply once in
Mm.
college. Um, they didn't hire me, but I probably wasn't going to work there long because I was leaving anyway. So,
You just needed something kind of temporary.
yeah, I was looking for something temporary.
Yeah, I
That's it.
spent like about a couple years at the Blockbuster myself. I mean, as an employee, but I mean, I was a regular there prior to working and after. But I enjoyed the five free movies a week, and you get those new releases in advance because you get them in advance so you can prep the boxes, the cover boxes, things
Mhm.
of that nature, and then have it out on release day. So I always enjoyed like watching those so that way I can give kind of like my review of it to the
Mhm.
regulars that would often come to me, so like I was already kind of reviewing movies in a sense, I guess. So
There you go. Yeah,
I think yeah, any of my friends that followed me and saw that I ended up podcasting and reviewing movies, it would be no surprise.
yeah.
Um
That's really the it's the Kevin Smith in didn't Tarantino
Clerks.
do that too? Like, yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
just, worked at a movie. Yeah, I think Tarantino did. They
mm,
both worked at like movie stores and just took home movies every night and watched them. And that's kind
yeah.
of where they got their film knowledge.
We still got a couple places here locally. There's a mom and pop shop that I think they have like a drive-through where you can they have like coffee and milkshakes and ice cream, things of that nature, refreshments, right? But if you come inside, they have movie rentals as well. Um, and then we have another place that's pretty known. It has a lot of like Hollywood memorabilia. It's got a lot of cool stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, a theater, and you could probably even request like certain showings and for a private party, but
That's
it's called
that's
Movie
cool.
Madness. Yeah, still one
Yeah.
of the very few places and they have a really wide selection, obscure movies. And
Hmm.
if anybody's ever in Portland, definitely check out Movie Madness. Check out the website. I'm sure they have plenty of pictures and stuff. I've even considered like reaching out and seeing if I can like do a live stream or maybe just record in there just to show what they
Some
have.
fun,
But it's
something for
yeah,
podstalgic.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that was just, it was good times, just the old movie store
Hell
because it
yeah.
was like an event itself,
It was
going to
it
the
was my
movie store.
library.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And, picking out a movie, was so much better than just scrolling Netflix. I don't know.
Yeah, it's well because it's less effort, right? Like you just walk, you see the cover box, you pick it up and you turn it around. Now you have to like go through these fucking menus, you have to push all these buttons, and then you have to figure out what
Yeah.
button on your remote
Mhm.
correlates with what's on screen. It's a
Yeah.
little bit more difficult to get through, and by the time you're done surfing, you could have watched like two movies, you know?
It's true. It's true. I mean, I've
Uh,
I've probably spent there were times I probably spent over an hour and a half at Blockbuster or
yeah,
something, just
that's
looking. It
short.
was
Hmm.
yeah, I know. And it was just like it was an experience in itself, man.
It really was. It really
Mhm.
was. I think I will. I'm gonna want to go and visit that movie Madness sooner than later. Now that I'm talking about it, and
Mhm.
we're gonna be discussing movies in this episode with another
Yeah.
top five topic. Before we get into that, let's do a little bit of house cleaning. For those that would like to meet Sean Kanan in the California, like Hollywood area, he will be at the Hollywood show March 1st and 2nd, 2024, depending, how far you go back, if you're listening to this in the future. But check the details out on his social media. He'll have the details there. And then also, if you like Hallmark movies, recently I interviewed Susan Gallagher and Martin Cove, who
Mhm.
uh, play a married couple in this new film called The Taste of Love with Erin Cahill, who's been on a number of Hallmark movies, but also opposite of her stars Jesse Cove, Martin's
Jessica.
son.
Yeah.
So Yeah, three actors from the Cobra Kai universe, from the Miyagi-verse. So it is currently not out yet at the time of this recording, but by the time you hear this, it should be available to stream for those that have like something like a Peacock. Shout outs to Christy and Jen for that on Twitter. They were kind of sharing different places you can watch this for those that are interested in seeing these actors play something a little bit different. I believe More Mercy is probably shown in a Hallmark
Mm.
movie.
Yeah, they
It's
run
about
a
food.
restaurant, right? Yeah, dude. Be sure to check out
Yeah.
the interview Peter dropped. Yeah.
Yes, there's a little sprinkles of some Cobra Kai talk with
Mhm.
Marty talking a little bit about the way he is playing Kreese in season 6. So no
Mhm.
spoilers there, obviously,
Mhm.
and also no spoilers for A Taste of Love. It was just a discussion about their characters and the upcoming film. So anything else you could think of? I know they're in production. Depending on which actors you follow. I know today Una O'Brien, who plays Devin, she shared a picture. It's an off day for them, and I think Griffin posted a picture of them bowling. So Gianni's out there. So a lot of your fan favorites, are out and about and seem to be a part of season 6. So really excited to see that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's coming along,
I think so.
They've been, filming, they're about 6 weeks in now. So, we don't know how long or whatever these episodes are, but they're definitely probably getting, into the meat of season 6 now in the
Yeah,
production. So,
I would say so. And I do wonder, like, if like how are they filming these? Are they filming certain sequences kind of early on, depending on like actors' availability? So not much is known. And if you guys listen to my interview with John, Josh, and Hayden back in what was it, spring of 2023, yeah, I had asked them about how season 5 wrapped up, and they basically said it was kind of a way to kind of tie up, maybe not necessarily loose threads, but to have season 6 basically start over, with a clean slate. So that's why it seemed kind of a quote unquote happy ending, and
mm,
like it could have
right.
ended right there, but obviously that's not what they had planned. It was
Mhm,
um, pretty much always 6 seasons as far as we can remember.
mhm.
Um, I don't think there has been very much. Um, Post from John. Hayden has at least a couple pictures. There was him, Bob Dearden, and a young woman at a
Unidentified
rest.
female. Yeah.
Yeah, what
We
was that a
we don't.
restaurant? I kind of
It,
forget.
it was like a bar. It was
It was
like
a
a
bar. Okay,
bar. Be careful, Hayden, on your internet security because I within 20 minutes I was able to figure out exactly where you were. I didn't share, but I was just looking for season
sure,
6 clues. But
because you're a
but
good
yeah, he
person,
was they were just at a bar in Atlanta.
right?
Um
And you know what? If you ask Hayden, AKA Top Dog, he'd be like, I don't need security. He's Top Dog, right?
that's true. That's
He did,
true.
yeah, yeah. He doesn't walk around with security. He is the security. Um, and
And
the
Bob
other
Dearden's tall. He's
Bob
imposing.
Dylan
I'm sure.
is pretty tall. I am
Yeah.
curious how tall he is.
I
We
thought he
we
was
may
like
have.
6'5". I didn't say someone say or something.
Ooh, I don't know.
4'6'5".
Um,
Yeah. Um,
I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out actually. Um, but the other photo was at the airport, and he is on his way to find himself. Hayden, Colorado. What was it? I kind of did. Did you see that one?
no, I didn't. When did he post that one? I must have
I
missed it.
believe yesterday. If you want to
Oh,
kind of, if you t want to take a gander as I kind of wrap up with like any other news and updates.
yeah,
I can't really think of any. I know
that's
that
fine.
I didn't get a chance to see it, but I know Mike over at Cobra Kai Wisdom, he did share a YouTube video of something of Hillary Swank. She was, I don't even know if it was something like some like media outlet put together, or was it an actual interview? I just shared the link. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. So there might be some kind of info about like just like her work, if that's something you guys are interested. There was no Cobra Kai talk, but that was something also shared recently. I remember. Um, Anything else? I don't. I think that's it.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Okay, so watch party, you came out with today's topic. What is the topic?
Yeah, so top five movies Daniel and Johnny would like love to watch together or bond over watching, you know. Um interpret it how you want it. I was thinking like something different. I don't know, last when we did it, I think we forgot to announce it on the last pod. I had it, but I
Yes.
forgot to say it. But this was like something different. So it's not we're not obviously going to mention Cobra Kai scenes or something, but it's like so movies that Daniel and Johnny, you know, would bond over or will love to watch together.
Right. And was there any sort of like I mean this kind of what you just said kind of falls under this, but like other criteria, like was there
Right. To
something that you
Well,
know,
this is how I just imagined like the whole scenario. How are they? Well,
okay,
it was like imagine like they take the dojo away on a retreat and they're in cabins, you know, for like training all day, and then like Johnny and Daniel have like are sharing a
or in
cabin or something.
a cabin
Yeah, like
together.
or
Uh-huh.
something. So like every evening through this week or something, they just chill in the evening and watch a movie or two together. Like what movies are they going to watch together that they'll both like love that they'll both enjoy? And part of the also in my thinking about it is I was at least going a little bit back and forth. It was like this one, you know, Johnny would recommend, but they would both love it. And then this one, Daniel would maybe recommend, but they're both gonna like it. So that's kind of like how I was approaching it. So
And
it's a little back and forth.
and was there any like anything where you're like, well, these type of movies cannot make my list,
Um,
like things you purposely omitted for reasons?
Um, well, I didn't come up like I mean, I like I said to you earlier, I did strongly consider a movie that had Elizabeth Shue in it. But I
Hmm.
ended up going with a slightly different one. I'll mention where it was when I get to it. But like I didn't necessarily exclude anything. They are all older movies. So like I'm also thinking of it as like movies they saw when they were younger, you know, which is part of that nostalgia too. And like, so that's how they're bonding over it. Like, you know, I don't have any more recent movies. Yeah, they're pretty much all older movies. So it's like, so that's like also that bonding part of what I'm thinking. Like they're bonding over some stuff, you know, they saw, you know, classic movies that they love.
Right, right. Mine was a similar approach, except for I didn't. It's funny because I didn't even like kind of like picture them as adults now watching these movies. I was thinking
Oh,
like, oh, just movies back in the 80s. And for some reason, I was just thinking of like Johnny and Daniel from The Karate Kid back in like 84. Not movies like pre 84. Looking over my list, there actually one is questionable. I feel actually no, I think they are all 80s movies. And so I was kind of like hitting kind of like the late teens, maybe even early 20s. And if they were whether they were friends or not, these are movies that they could bond over. Like they could be sitting there in a room,
mhm.
not talking to each other, but still both enjoy this film.
Enjoy them. Yeah,
Right.
and then I think in under your scenario, then it applies now. Like as adults, let's say they're just watching back movies they
Okay.
watched when they were young, you know, bonding over. So, you know, so I think it's more or less the same, except mine, I do have movies from the 90s and such, and you're
Okay. And then the other thing was like it cannot be movies that well, let me just double check. Okay, one is possibly questionable. Um, uh, Basically, Ralph and Billy cannot be in those movies. So I
okay.
omitted anything with the
You admit,
Ralph and Billy, and I didn't make sure for sure that they weren't movies that were also mentioned in Cobra Kai. Right. So there were some that were really on the nose that I'm like, okay, well, I'm not mentioning those. There's one in here that I'm like, wait, was it mentioned or not? I'm unsure, but it's still a movie that I don't care what universe is in. I feel like everybody loves this movie, so it's one of those. So and we got some feedback. I solicited feedback, so we have some of those at the end as well. Which part you came up with the topic? So why don't you start off with your number five? And did you? How did you make your list? Because honestly, mine's in no particular order.
yeah, mine is kind of like, yeah, I mean, obviously it's written 5-1 how we do it, but like mine was like, it's almost like like I said, they're at this cabin for 5, 6 days. So like it's like what they're watching the first day, the second day, the third day. So it's not so much like top five, but it's just more like in my mind, it's like the first day Johnny's recommending this, and the next day Daniel's recommending
Nice.
this. So that's how I went with it. So yeah, so we do have it 5-1, but it's not as much like a top five,
Right, right,
as we normally do it.
right. Okay.
Um, all right, so my number five here, I'm imagining it like I said, like they're in this cabin or something. Johnny's trying to recommend something that he thinks Danny would like or they would enjoy together. He hits on a comedy he liked. Number five, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Um,
Okay.
I
Steve Martin.
imagine
Nice.
I confess I put this on the list partially because I loved this movie myself when I was young.
Okay.
I really like this, and I think like this really does play into Johnny and Daniel. I think they would both enjoy this movie. The Michael Caine characters, something Daniel would recommend or relate to, the very uptight or very posh. And then Steve Martin's characters are like very Johnny. I think it's hysterical. It's funny. I think it came out in '89. So it is that era too, and I think it's funny. It's something they would both really relate to in their own ways. I think Johnny would just love Steve Martin's character. I think Daniel would love Michael Caine's character. It's a lot of fun. So that's kind of my number five.
All right. That's a good one. I have not seen that in a really long time.
Yeah,
And
in fact, when I put it on the list, I'm like, man, I need to watch that. Like good memories of just watching that movie, man. Um,
yeah, because I remember, and I don't think these movies are related at all, but School for Scoundrels that came out a few years ago with Billy Bob
mhm.
Thornton, not the same, right?
um, I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
It's just
I don't think
because
it's this. Yeah.
just there's not a lot of movies with the term scoundrel in it, you know. So I
Mhm.
think when the Billy Bob version came out, is that right? Just am I mistaken? But anyway, yeah, I think time for a revisit. But I'll just add it to my ever-growing long list of movies I need to watch. I got a buddy
Yeah.
that just texted me earlier today and he asked me if I want to catch that new Deadpool 3 in the summer. I'm like, man, I haven't even seen part two. He's like, well, you got X amount of months to watch that and Ex Machina. He's been trying to get me to watch Ex Machina
Mhm.
for like the last 3 years.
Mhm.
And I keep, it's like, dude, you know, my all my movie watching is like, I have no time for my own stuff. Like, with
Mhm.
all that we covered. All right, so let's see, my number five. So I feel this. I don't know who would pick this one. Maybe Johnny. Maybe Johnny would pick this one. So at number five, I have something that many teenage boys in the 80s thought about fondly. Is the sequence in a movie called Fast Time at Ridgemont High.
I thought about that one. Yeah. Go
Okay.
for it. Yeah.
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 1982. I don't even want to call it like a stoner comedy, but we got was it Spicoli, right? Is that his name? Played by
That
Sean
sounds right.
Penn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Spicoli. Kind of an iconic, kind of at least for me. I guess he was one of the OGs for me with like your Cheech and Chong. Like I was, I had no business watching these type of movies at that age, kind of
Mhm.
characters. But Cameron Crowe wrote
It's
this
his
one.
first movie. Yeah. He was
Yeah,
pretty young when
and
he wrote that.
I which is interesting is Cameron Crowe like would become like one of my favorite directors like in my teenage years.
Mine too. I mean, I found this movie when I got into Cameron Crowe when I was in college. Yeah, is when I first
Interesting. Did
watched this.
was
Yeah.
Singles, did that do it for you, or what was your kind of gateway for Cameron Crowe?
Um,
I think mine was Jerry
I
Maguire.
well, yeah, it was definitely Jerry Maguire, which I actually considered for this list, but I didn't put it on. But then yeah, Jerry Maguire, and then I think when I was in college, I
What
watched
was
Say
famous?
Anything.
Ah, yes, anything, of
Yeah,
course.
Say Anything, and then Almost Famous. Even wrote papers on those in school in some film
Mm.
classes. But um, yeah, so that was kind of my intro into to Cameron Crowe there.
Yeah, a lot of people in here, Judge Reinhold, obviously, but yeah, like I said, that iconic classic Phoebe
Mhm.
Cates sequence,
Mhm.
and I feel this is a movie Johnny would throw on just because there's babes in it. Like,
Yeah.
is she hot?
Hmm.
Is she hot? Like, thinking back to season one, Johnny.
Hmm.
Um, if it's got a babe, more than likely he'll watch it. And
There
so
you go.
I just think a kind of a quintessential 80s movie that they both can bond over.
They would
Um,
definitely, yeah.
so back to you for number four.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I had considered it and I didn't
Mm,
put it on. Okay, so like in my imagination now, it's maybe the next night. Daniel's going to suggest something. Daniel's a little bit more upscale, but knows he's got to put on something he thinks Johnny would like, or maybe Johnny would have seen. So I have for number four, Reservoir Dogs. Um,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, so I actually thought through all of Tarantino's movies. I don't think Johnny would like some of them, but I do think Reservoir Dogs is a movie they would both like. It's like the like mob guys or whatever, that goes bad. So it's got enough like action or intrigue, like the crooks and stuff doing that stuff that I think would really entertain Johnny. But it's sophisticated Quentin Tarantino, and I think Daniel would really like that stuff too. So this is definitely something, they're chilling at the end of the day. Daniel's putting something on that he knows Johnny would like. So I think this is the one, this Tarantino movie too, they would definitely bond over.
Yeah, I think Dogs was probably my first Tarantino movie that I watched.
Hmm.
Um, Funny enough, like I think Pulp Fiction would be like one of the later ones,
Oh,
so that wasn't
really?
even
Hmm.
that wasn't even my entry. And just kind of missed out on that one. Reservoir Dogs I saw. Let me see. I'm trying to think. I believe there's one or two Tarantino movies I still have not seen that I obviously still want to. Jackie Brown is is at the top of the list of that one.
Hmm.
It's one of those movies that I continue to hear like quote unquote what went wrong with that movie, and I think like a lot of people I've spoken with, they said, well, it's just people probably felt like it wasn't Pulp Fiction, which is fine, but like it's still a very good movie nonetheless. So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
well, I mean, if it's a good movie is a good movie, so it's something
Hmm.
that I still want to see. Um, but just another one of those with like back to Reservoir Dogs. That is incredible cast. Obviously,
Yeah.
um, did not consider any of those. Well, that's 90s, right? Early 90s, 93.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, 93,
I'm
94,
not sure if you
something
said
like
that,
that.
but
Or
okay,
maybe 92, 93. I can't
early
remember. Because
90s.
Pulp Fiction 94. Yeah, something
Desperado's
like that. Early
95.
94s. Or was it 95? I can't remember the year, but
Yeah. I mean,
but
that
yeah.
early 90s right there, 93, 94, 95, a lot of great movies.
Yeah.
Um,
But see, like I imagine, like I said, also Daniel and Johnny are older. They were both still single guys in the '90s, as per the story. So like I imagine they were checking out movies and stuff. So this is still something they would bond over. Not much different than if they saw it in high school. So that's
right.
why I do have these '90s movies on here.
Oh my gosh. There's one on here that I did not even have. I'm gonna replace one. I'm gonna replace one. And I
Uh-oh.
won't say which one. I'm not gonna say which one.
List adjustments.
List adjustments, you won't know what I'm taking out and putting in. All right, my
Gotcha.
number four. You had a Steve Martin movie. I have a Steve Martin movie. For my number four, I have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I thought about
Um,
that one.
Yeah, a classic here, 1987. So this would be a little bit after high school for them. I just, went with like the odd couple pairing, and these two would probably fight over like, which is more like, the other, for them kind
Mhm.
of thing. Oh, you're
Yeah.
the annoying guy, that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would be more bickering,
Mhm.
instead of bonding, but just kind of doing that thing. But just a comedy and. I think I threw this on the list as like one of those movies that like a lot of people love, but as we get older, I don't think like the younger folks are getting to a movie like this. And this is like one of those few like Thanksgiving movies too, you
It
know?
is. I always usually recommend it every Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I try to remind,
So I
just the
think
Thanksgiving movie. There's not many of those. Yeah.
yeah. I know there was that Thanksgiving horror movie that came out. Like was that Eli Roth? I kind of it's like the guy who uses kitchenware from Thanksgiving to kill people, and he wears a mask that's like a pilgrim. You didn't
I don't
see
know
the
that
trailer?
one. Yeah. The
Yeah.
only, yeah.
But Yeah, so this one was just kind of like, oh, I also just wanted to mention it because I think a lot of people like this one. John Candy's really good in it, and it has really
Yeah.
nice ending. And again, just like these two that have been digging it out all movie, and then they are friends at the end. It's kind
Yeah,
of like these two
it's a
idiots.
John Hughes movie, and I think,
Yeah.
that's one of the ones they're most likely to bond over. Some of John Hughes' teenage movies, I don't think
Hmm.
Johnny would like as much. But yeah, if you're looking for a John Hughes movie, it'd be like that one, or maybe Vacation or something. Um,
Hmm. All right, which he was in one of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was in European Vacation. That's right. He
Yeah. A
Billy
boyfriend or
played the
something.
boyfriend. Yeah, yeah.
All right, back to you for number three.
All right. So the way I'm visioning, like it's like the third day now. Johnny's gonna recommend something. He's thinking, we've had some good movies. We haven't had any good action yet. But he doesn't want to just recommend, the stereotypical action movies, or something like Terminator or something. So he's looking for something fun and good. So number three, I have The Rock.
Oh, nice. I considered that.
Yeah.
Probably because Obliterated was a little bit on my mind.
Hmm.
But yeah, that would be a good one. Absolutely.
Yeah, Sean
Uh,
Connery. I was thinking Sean Connery. It's just Nicolas Cage is such a great movie, and I think they would both enjoy it. It's definitely up Johnny's alley. It's a '90s movie, but I think Johnny would have loved it as much in the
Johnny,
'90s as he would it from the
mm,
'80s.
Johnny is up. Allie's what? Which is um. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one for sure. It's funny because what you actually just named my third movie just a bit ago there. My third movie is The Terminator, and
Oh,
so
there you go. Yeah,
yeah,
I
this one
thought
came out.
because I thought about it too. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
It came out, probably I don't know if it was the same like around the same time as like the All Valley tournament, but same year. And when I put this down, I was kind of imagining that they both went to the same showing, ended up in the same row, and just like, oh God, and it's just like, oh fuck it, let's just watch this movie and not talk. And then they
Mhm,
both are like kind of um what's the term I was looking for? They're kind of like rooting for, like Kyle Kreese and
mhm,
Sarah Connor and all that stuff, and just kind of enjoying the same parts all together. It's just one of those
mhm.
another different wait, different but same kind of moments.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. So I thought I'd throw in like a kind of a more I don't want to say like a hardcore action movie, but but yes. All right,
And you
so
can
back.
you can imagine Johnny, especially being blown away by Schwarzenegger and
Oh
that,
sure. Oh
just
yeah, yeah.
big
He
guy.
was
Yeah.
it gets yeah. He's
Mhm,
huge and all that
mhm.
stuff. Absolutely. And there's babes, Linda Hamilton, is a
Yeah,
babe
yeah.
and her
There you go.
roommate. Her roommate comes
Mhm.
out and you know, her night
In the
clothes
'80s.
was it
Yeah.
gown? I kind of forget. But all right, back to you for number two.
All right, number two. Okay, so we're like 4 days in now. It's Daniel's turn to recommend a movie. And I thought about this one. It's like, what is a movie Daniel would like? And I think like this is a movie that's right up Daniel's alley. Alley. Right, there you go again. Right. It's really much in Daniel's DNA, but I think Johnny would like it too. So I mean, I go in with number two, Goodfellas. Um,
Oh, nice.
I,
Okay.
yeah, I think, Daniel, that Italian from Jersey, he's just really gonna love a lot of the gangster movies and stuff like that. I think that's just kind of in his DNA. He's gonna love that, and it's the sort of stuff Johnny can definitely like watch and enjoy as well. It's
Right,
not like
right,
straight action, but I definitely think, like I said with Reservoir Dogs, like I think Johnny could definitely watch like a really good gangster movie like this and all that life and that world. And I think Johnny can totally get into that. And it's like this is probably maybe in Daniel's top five movies. Like
Hmm.
I think
Interesting.
maybe like because I just view this stuff as in Daniel's DNA, and it's sort of Johnny would love it too. I will admit, I considered Scorsese. I considered Casino too,
Mm.
but and that one has Elizabeth Shue. That
All
was the one I
right.
was considering, but I went with Goodfellas instead. Um,
Okay. Yeah, his cousin Vinny. Wait. I have to think of Daniel.
Daniel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Daniel, so
Hmm.
his counterparts, yeah, cousin Vinny's in Goodfellas, so there you go.
Hmm. Hmm.
Worlds collide.
Yeah.
My number two, I went with something that is a franchise, and I was trying to think which one would be good. And I went with the OG, but before I kind of say what it is. I considered another one that included more of like a father-son storyline that
Hmm.
I thought maybe they both might kind of enjoy, not really having their own father, and like their own versions of like surrogate fathers. But I went with Indiana Jones, The Raiders of the Lost Ark, as opposed to blanking on it, the one with Sean Connery, the
Last Crusade.
Last
Yeah.
Crusade, which is actually the one I watch the most. I don't know if I want to say I enjoy the most. Um, I think I enjoy Last Crusade the most. I think I like Raiders of the Ark the most, and then I like Temple of Doom because of Short Round.
This is
And
good reasonings.
actually,
Good reasonings. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Last
And
Crusade
wait,
is probably my favorite. I admit I considered them all, but
right,
they
right.
didn't the list. Um,
And Temple of Doom is supposed to be the first movie, right? That's the prequel.
in chronological order,
Right.
like or whatever, like in whatever that is. Just
Yeah.
sort of how they made it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And back to you for number one.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good one.
Mm.
And Indiana Jones definitely, those are some of those great classic 80s
Oh yeah,
movies that
absolutely.
they watched. Yeah.
Just so fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think like they would either would object to it or something. Okay, so my number one, this is kind of an interesting one, and like I could have gone with something like Terminator, and I was thinking like, but like I was also thinking like part of this they're gonna bond over these movies, so it's something that they together they may haven't watched in a while.
Mm.
So I don't know, maybe also this list reflects me as well, but but so my number one, I went with True Lies.
Ooh,
I,
nice.
I was thinking they wanted a Schwarzenegger movie. See, this is Johnny recommending. He wants a Schwarzenegger movie, but he feels like if he picks Terminator, it'll just Daniel would just be like, yeah, of course, it's the classic, T Terminator T2. So Johnny goes with True Lies because he's thinking, I haven't seen this one in a while, but it's awesome. A lot of great action. It's a great strip tease that probably goes on way too long, but who cares? It's got everything you want. It's got a lot of fun. He's worried about his daughter running off. You can even see Johnny poking fun at
Sure. Oh
Daniel
yeah, right.
about stuff like that. So yeah, definitely like in my vision, this is Johnny picking a movie. He wants a Schwarzenegger. He's like, we got to do a Schwarzenegger movie. So he didn't want to go for the obvious, and he went with something he hasn't seen in a while, but he knows he loves, and Daniel loves it too. So that's my number one, True Lies.
I think True Lies is a good grown-up one for them. Let's
Hmm.
see, they're probably mid-20s now. That came out in 93, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, somewhere in
90,
mid
94,
90s,
94.
94.
Actually,
Yeah.
94 sounds more correct, actually.
Mhm.
So you're looking at 26 probably for them.
Yeah.
25, 26. A
When they were
really,
both still bachelors, right? So
yeah, yeah. Interesting one. I have in my honorables another Schwarzenegger movie, so I'll wait for that one.
Me
Uh,
too. So
yeah, okay. Uh, is- well, I'll wait to tell our feedback because I know
mhm.
another actor has been mentioned.
Mhm.
My number one. This is where I'm like, well, why is this number one? No particular reason. I just thought about it last, and that's why it ended up being my number one.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So this could have been in reverse order and probably still would have been kind of like, huh, what? A fast time at number one. But my number one is kind of what I was saying about planes, trains, and automobiles, like The Odd Couple. But season three, hold on, let me think about it. Yeah, early season three kind of gave me the vibes of these characters from this other franchise. Another, not necessarily odd couple pairing, but it's definitely partners. Partners. I don't want to say in crime because they're detectives.
Mhm.
Lethal Weapon, captains even. I
Ah,
mean, I don't know if
there
they
you
ever
go.
made it to detective, but captains in. I think part four, but you got your hothead and Riggs and
Hmm.
Murtaugh, is your veteran. Um, that is the vibe that I got in like episode two of season three, right? The chop shop, and the
Hmm.
bickering in the car.
Hmm.
This is that pairing that I always thought of anytime I saw like, not necessarily Johnny and Daniel's lab, with corn nuts and stuff like that, but the sequence and the absurdity of it is kind
Hmm.
of what that reminded me of. Um, and I felt okay with putting this on here because again, I was thinking of like younger Johnny and Daniel. Just
Hmm.
imagine, right? Because now you got Mel Gibson up in there, and I don't know if there's people out there still like really supporting him. I don't know. So, yeah, Lethal Weapon number one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about those too. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. It's just that
they're
it was like the
those movies are good. I mean,
original. I don't know if it's the original,
hey,
but definitely
Richard
it was like,
Donner,
yeah. I mean, it was
Shane
such a
Black.
great movie. Like, and just and redefined, the action genre. So
Right.
definitely,
And
I can see them both watching it. Be it in the '80s or today. Um, and just loving it. Still. So.
yeah, yeah. All right, and so that's our five. If you want to go over your honorable mentions and then recap your five.
Sure thing. Honorable mentions. I got another Schwarzenegger. It was close to number five. So I went with Commando.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Um, Classic one, but also sort of the same thinking, something Johnny would recommend, but didn't want to go with the most obvious, like Terminator. So
Right.
he would go with something a little bit, offbeat, Schwarzenegger movie. So Commando, a lot of
Can I
fun. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a little aside. I heavily considered twins, and
Oh yeah.
that would have been that's 88 though. A little bit older, not a big deal because I have I'm just looking over my list. One of my movies is, I believe, 89 in my honorable mentions. But I just think it'd be funny if Johnny's like, oh yeah, you're totally Danny DeVito, and I'm like Schwarzenegger. Like I can hear that. It's just one of those.
Yeah. A
But
good
Commando,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have not seen that in a really long time.
Well, neither have I, but
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But and
Uh,
like I said, I think that's part of the reason why Johnny picks it.
mhm.
Because he hasn't seen it in a long time. Man, I need to watch that one. So my next one is the oldest one on the list. I think like Daniel trying to recommend something that he knows Johnny would like, but maybe he would enjoy too, an action movie. I went with The Man with the Golden Gun. Uh,
Interesting.
Yeah, like a classic James Bond with Sean Connery, that he knows they would both love and really bond with. It's an older one, but I think they would enjoy it. That's sort of like the classic Bond, old
Who
school, going old
who
school.
was the Bond girl in that one?
Oof, I don't remember. That's
Oh,
my
okay.
weakness. Yeah, off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
Oh, because I was thinking like like if it has one of those names, right? Like one of those
Mhm.
like I don't know if it's double entendre or one of those type of names. Like I can see like Johnny snickering anytime, like like the name is said out loud. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, he could have gone with
yeah,
Octopussy on that one, but
yeah, right.
um,
And was that
and
one more, right? Yeah.
one more. This was just like a action movie from the '90s. Johnny going with Crimson Tide. I was just trying
Mm.
to think of something different.
Sean
Again,
Connery,
probably something.
heavy, The
You know what? I
Rock,
didn't
and
even
yeah,
realize that. You're right.
yeah,
You're right. I was trying not to overdo Schwarzenegger, and I didn't want to overdo Stallone, and he didn't end up
same.
making the list at all. And now I ended up with
That's
three
who I
Sean
was gonna mention.
Connery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have him on my list either.
Um,
It's Rocky,
but but yeah, like part of my thinking also was like it's like Johnny thinking, what haven't I seen in a while? That LaRusso would love. So that's one he would recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crimson Tide. So my list in order: five Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, four Reservoir Dogs, three The Rock, two Goodfellas, one True Lies, honorable mentions, Commando, The Man with the Golden Gun, and Crimson Tide.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, that's a very solid list, just for movies to watch in general.
Yeah, there
Um,
you go. This
when
is a list for you people.
yes, thank you, thank you. I mean, I think I've seen all of those actually. So, I guess maybe revisits in order. I was just thinking of a formula while you were going over your honorable mentions. Like it would have been funny if we had like two different lists. This episode, we're doing top five movies Daniel would like. Next episode, Johnny movies would like. And so I totally could have done something where like I pick the five really good movies that I think Johnny would watch, but then pick the lesser versions of those movies. So like Top Gun. Okay, well, no, Iron Eagle. You know,
Mhm.
uh, I'm gonna show my hand in one of my honorable mentions. Predator. No, Commando. Like
Mhm. Right,
something
right,
like that.
right. Mhm.
So my honorable mentions, I just mentioned it. Predator,
Mhm.
or the Predator. Is it Predator? I think it's just
I thought it was
Predator.
just Predator.
I
Yeah.
think it's just Predator. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
just I think this one was on my mind just because recently we just lost Carl Weathers,
Yeah,
who
jeez.
played Apollo Creed.
Mhm.
Amongst so many other huge roles, but I knew him best as Dylan from Predator. It's
Mhm.
it's one of my favorite 80s
Mhm.
movies of all time. It's scored by Alan Silvestri, who also scored so many movies, but for those that is familiar with his name, Back to the Future, the trilogy, but
Mhm.
so many other iconic movies over the decades, just and it's just really well written. Shane Black, just really great, awesome movie. And Arnold, what is this one? 87, I feel. So peak Arnold getting into that super, mega superstar era as he reaches the
Yeah,
90s.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had that one in there, and it dropped into my honorables because I had the Terminator. So
Mhm.
that's really the reason. So they could probably be interchangeable, really. My second honorable mention, this is going to be, adolescent Johnny and Daniel, because Babes, I got Weird Science. Right, so
Mhm.
that's your two characters. You got the
Mhm.
one guy who's brown hair, the other one's a blonde. They make a woman. Boom, there you go. Who
There you
doesn't
go.
like them some Weird Science? I like Real Genius better.
Yeah.
Weird Science, kind
Mhm.
of the lesser. And yeah, it doesn't hold up. Okay, but hey, to each their own. Like if you want to
There you
watch
go.
it, it's fine,
And
nostalgic. But
especially if you're going at like at the time when it came out
yeah,
or something. Yeah,
85.
definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
And my third honorable mention, kind of this is going to be the third mention of like a not necessarily an odd couple because this is an interesting one, but again, I kind of picture them watching this together and bickering and debating who is which version of the characters. But I have Double Impact from 1989, Van
Oh,
Damme.
Van Damme.
Right, like which twin are they?
Yeah,
Right, different but
yeah.
same. I
There you
think that's the
go.
epitome of different but same. And so, yeah, one's a little bit more, flashier, and the other one's a little bit more rugged. And so, I think there's colors of Johnny and Daniel in that pairing. So, Double Impact is I think probably top five Van Damme movies for me. I definitely didn't want to mention Bloodsport for the obvious in season four. So.
Yeah,
To recap
go for
my
it.
yeah, my five, number five, Fast Time at Ridgemont High. Number four, Planes, Trains, and Automobile Meals, automobiles.
Automobiles.
The three, The Terminator, 1984. Raiders of the Lost Ark, number two, and Lethal Weapon at number one. Not necessarily in any particular order there, but that's the five.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a
I was just thinking
yeah.
like literally everyone on your list is something I did consider. Like,
Oh
so
wow,
it's
hey,
just,
there
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, well, like we
Yeah,
didn't have any crossovers, but like it was like
you're
definitely
right.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. At the very least, some actors for sure, like
Mhm.
your Steve Martin, your Arnold, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look to see what we got in the group. For those that would like to participate and send in feedback, you can join the group, Companion Network. I think it's the Companion Network group on Facebook, but if you type in Companion, I'm sure it'll populate. I don't
How do
always
you
solicit
spell companion?
Companion with a K.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I was going to say, I don't always solicit for feedback, but we've only done maybe one or two episodes that we didn't ask for feedback because it was like, kind of last minute kind of thing. We just threw something
Mhm.
together just to put something
Mhm.
out for the listeners. But that is where you can hang out with us. There's not a whole lot to share, but there's us in there just waiting for people to share new content as they come out. At the top of the list, we have Andrew P. He says, well, they definitely bond over Top Gun and the Rocky films for sure. And I
Mhm.
agree. And you know what's funny? I originally, I think at number it was number four or three. I started typing Rocky, and I'm like, which one though?
Yeah,
And
that's a challenge. Yeah.
yeah, and then I go, you know what? I bet you it's mentioned in the group. So then I just deleted it and then went with something else. So
I was
um,
originally considering Rocky Balboa actually.
interesting.
Like I
Be
thought like maybe they
the
would bond
sun,
over like the comeback and all that. Like it, especially when you're thinking about it more in present day, like
yeah.
relates to them now. Um,
I'm blanking on the son's name.
is it a Christopher?
I don't know. Um, but in Rocky Balboa is played by
Hmm.
Milo Ventimiglia. I, I'm you guys know who I'm talking about. You know, Heroes fame. Was he in Gossip Girls? He was in one of those two, right? Um, I don't know, many of things, but he was in Rocky Balboa playing the son, which he was not the original actor, right? Because I believe who didn't Rocky's own son play one of the versions, or I'm kind of
I
forgetting.
don't, I don't, that's
I'm sorry.
trivia. I don't know. Yeah,
Me neither. You know,
yeah.
I was more of an Arnold guy than Stallone
Hmm.
myself.
Yeah.
Um, but my story, this Milo, who played the son in Rocky Balboa, there's the relationship is very much Johnny and Robbie in that one, so I can see that. But I was at a Comic Con where Milo was at, and I asked him about not returning for maybe Creed, right? Because they
Hmm.
had a different actor. Or no. He was just mentioned. There was no son.
Hmm.
I think they put the son in later. Anyway, so I asked,
Hmm.
hey, how come you didn't return for that? And he says that he thinks that well, his character wasn't needed, but also there's a mention of the son and where his whereabouts he's at. And he thinks that Arnold like oh, not Arnold, Stallone,
So on. Yeah.
like knew that Milo was in production somewhere in Vancouver, and there's a mention, I think, of his son like being in Vancouver or something like that. So he had
Wow.
heard that there was a nod to the character at least, and so
Hmm.
yeah, he didn't return. But I remember seeing like a behind the scenes thing where Stallone was saying like him and Milo have like the same like the side of their face that has that little I don't know what you call it, the little draw that he has, you know.
Hmm.
So okay, so Dorian is the next one. He's got Midnight Run, a buddy movie. That's something I wanted to do for a nostalgic. I have never seen that. So that's interesting. The n number two is The Castle, an underdog story. Have you heard of that one? The Castle? I almost thought it was
I
The
have
Last Castle for a
not. I
second, which
have
is
not.
not the
I don't
same.
know that one. Yeah.
Okay. Never Back Down, number three. A Karate Kid clone is what he says. Never Back Down is more of the MMA version of Karate Kid.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a good
Mhm.
one. I think a lot of people kind of agree that yeah, it's very much the um that 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 DNA, of the Karate Kid. Number two, they're not numbered, but the number four, I'm not sure that the fourth movie he has is Parenthood because they'll have a good laugh about the pressures of parenting.
Mhm.
And the number one movie he has listed is Creed because Johnny loves Rocky and would get emotional watching his hero in such a vulnerable state.
Mm.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
There you go.
Um, yeah. Um, I think yeah, that's a good point actually. That is a very good point because Rocky. Interesting. I mean,
Mm.
anybody that loves that character. So,
Yeah.
really good list. Oriented. The next one comes from Jeff P. He lists Rocky, Gun, Roadhouse, Cobra, and Commando. I really heavily considered Roadhouse.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. I didn't
Yeah,
think
I
about
mean,
it, but I can see it. Yeah.
yeah. There's no. I mean, I didn't omit it for any particular reason, but I was like, Patrick Swayze, The Outsiders.
Hmm.
Good list there. Mike P says Point Break, Major League, and Beverly Hills Cop. I also consider Beverly Hills Cop. Major League was on my mind. Um, I did even consider like, oh, what were some like big
Daniel's a
sports?
hockey guy, though. Probably, I feel
Yeah,
like Major League. Well, although I mean, I'm sure they would enjoy it. Yeah, he's on the comedies on this one. Um,
right.
mhm.
Next one, I like this list. Some I definitely actually no, I considered every single one of these. The next one comes from Alex D. Bloodsport. Die Hard, The Empire Strikes Back, The Lost Boys, and The Last Dragon. I love all those movies. I considered every single one of those too. Any comments on these movies? Where do you end with because neither of us has Star Wars listed.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny would be as big a fan of like those science fiction in general. I actually had Edge of Tomorrow on my list originally.
Yeah,
Because I was thinking like what would be something more like a modern or more recent action movie. And like what that Johnny would like. And I had like Edge of Tomorrow, which is, a little science fiction, but I don't think science fiction is as big in Johnny's wheelhouse.
yeah,
He
agree.
maybe
Yeah,
he's seen it, like he's probably maybe seen the Star Wars movies, but he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, but he likes, the action, the fighting, and like that's why I like definitely like my list, even the ones that are like a little bit more different. Like I went with Goodfellas, which is like, mobby and the mob and stuff. I think that would appeal to Johnny a little bit more than like Empire Strikes Back.
yeah. Bloodsport, great score. I mean,
Definitely,
I'm
yeah.
sure they're both
Hmm.
like that. Yeah. The
Hmm.
Last Dragon, a great soundtrack. The
Hmm.
Lost Boys, a great soundtrack. Empire Strikes Back is John Williams, obviously.
Obviously,
Die
yeah.
Hard, again, one
And
of
of
those
course,
movies that,
Die Hard, yeah.
yeah, that it should be on everyone's list.
Hmm.
Um, the next one comes from Jose B. He says the Rocky films, best of the best. Check this out: Goodfellas, um,
Good. There you
Outlaw Josie Wells. I have not seen that one. I know it's a Clint Eastwood.
go. Hmm.
Iron
Yeah,
Eagle.
I considered a lot of Clint Eastwood movies myself,
Interesting.
trying to
Okay.
trying to find one, but I couldn't find one that I think would fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. He continues. I would have said Crossroads, but in my mind, Eugene, quote unquote, Lightning Boy, Martoni is now a
Mhm.
famous guitarist in their reality. It would be a fun debate on who was better, Eugene or Jack Butler. In parentheses, the Steve Vai character. I'd assumed that Jack Butler mysteriously vanished when Eugene was just becoming famous because they wouldn't know about the contest for Eugene's soul. Um, so, a bit of a confession here. I've never seen Crossroads.
Hmm.
Have you seen Crossroads?
No, I don't
Do you
think
know what
so.
he's talking
No,
about?
no.
This is the Ralph Macchio guitar movie.
Oh, interesting.
Still blind spot.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah,
okay.
like the Ralph Macchio movie.
Yeah, so
Um,
this is another one of those that Ralph does talk about at like cons when it comes up. I believe he still has the guitar, from that movie, if I'm not mistaken. But it's something that I've always like if I was ever going to interview Tommy Howell, see Thomas Howell, from Obliterated,
mhm,
I would have
mhm,
asked him being a musician, that hey, what do you think about that up and coming actor in Crossroads? What do you think about his guitar playing? So I was going to throw a little shade, but that's really all I know about that film is that
mhm,
Ralph Macchio plays guitar. Yeah, I did chop up like the guitar off sequence and added like the audio from Michael J. or Marty McFly playing Johnny B. Good at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. And so I cut it in a way that it sounded like Ralph Macchio was playing it because in his memoirs he had talked about, not even auditioning for Back to the Future. They had like a lunch with him.
mhm.
And they just didn't think that he was like quote unquote American enough, and ironically went with Michael J. Fox, who's a Canadian. So I took that little snippet and then I just made like a little video of like, Ralph's character playing the guitar, but it's him playing Johnny B. Good from Coming Under the Sea Dance. So
Interesting. Yeah,
that,
fun.
yeah, that
Sounds
much I
fun.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
might have to check it out. People's like Crossroads, I believe.
Hmm.
Let's see here. I'm trying to. There's some other discussions. I'll leave that out because it's between like another member and
Hmm.
in the replies. So next one comes from Cisco. He has a few here. Lionheart. That's a Van
Oh
Damme movie.
yeah, that Van
I
Damme
like that
movie.
one a
Yeah,
lot.
that's a good one. The one I
I
hadn't
think
even
I
thought
think it's
of. That one.
underrated. I think it's underrated. You know,
Yeah, it is.
it's basically Bloodsport, underground blood. I mean, Bloodsport is underground, but it's kind of like
It's American
Concrete
Underground.
Jungle, or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
Concrete Jungle. Yeah, that's a good way to
that type
put
of
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
I really like Lionheart. It was on USA all the time, all the time.
So
Um,
when I was in Taekwondo,
uh-huh.
one of my instructors, he had a lion tattoo on his heart, just like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, he was a really good fighter too, and I think he loved that
Was it
movie.
because of
Yeah,
the movie?
I'm certain. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Mhm,
That one is definitely top five Van Damme for me
mhm.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second one he has Over the Top, which was that the one that was mentioned
Yeah, that was
in,
the
okay, okay.
assignment to
Season
watch.
two.
Mhm.
Season two, I believe Aisha
Correct. Yeah.
mentions it. Yeah. And then his bottom three is the Expendables one, two, and three. Expendables one, two, and three.
That works too. It's
Yeah.
more recent. Yeah, and I think definitely think they would like those. Like I think they're more Johnny movies than Daniel movies. Um,
I can see that.
but I think Daniel would be willing to go along with it, like that sort of thing.
Absolutely. It's the same actors that he grew up watching in other movies too, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I like that. Thank you, Cisco. Next one comes from Randy C. He lists just one of the guys, The Outsiders, Back to
Mhm.
School, My Cousin Vinny, and maybe Karate Kid 2010. Or the
Yeah.
Kung Fu Kid, the
Very,
Kung Fu
very.
Dream.
That would feel very weird for them watching those movies.
You know what? They would think it's feels very familiar, you know?
Yeah.
So let's see here. Just going over the list. It's so the funny thing is, like, earlier today I was just thinking about this connection, and I don't remember if I brought it up in the episode review back in season three. But at one point Johnny references Ladybugs, because I was all like, oh yeah, Johnny just said Ladybugs. Is that a movie I would throw in here? No, number one, no, but also that stars Rodney Dangerfield, who was in Back to School with William Zabka. So
There you go.
yeah, I was just like, yeah, okay, definitely no ladybugs, but yeah, those would be interesting.
Mhm.
To see them watch any of those movies, and just the fact that, like, in just one of the guys, Ralph Macchio gets a name drop, so that'd be fun. Well, I
Right.
mean that name would go over their heads anyway. So
Yeah.
in The Outsiders, the book that
Mhm.
Sam reads, I do
Right. Of
wonder who's
course.
the cast of that. Um, all right, and so. Randy continues on a separate comment. He says, on a more serious note, aside from the obvious Top Gun and Rocky entries that have already been mentioned, No Retreat, No Surrender for the obvious martial arts material. That's an interesting one. So I've never seen, have you seen that movie? No Retreat, No
I
Surrender?
haven't. No, I
Yeah.
think I've heard of it.
I don't know how big his role is, but Van Damme is in there also playing like a Russian named Ivan,
Mhm.
and I believe one guy is being trained by the ghost of Bruce Lee, and a friend of mine who really enjoys Paul Sajak is like, dude, you need to do No Retreat, No Surrender, and I want to be your guest. I'm like, okay, done. That's easy. You pick the movie for me and my guest. Let's do it.
There
So
you go.
yeah, so it's funny that it's mentioned here because it's something that was a blind spot for me, and I do want
Mhm.
to check it out. Next one he has Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for the soundtrack. Not only that, but hey, the Eagle Fang van, right? That's a Wild Stallion van.
Mhm.
Very similar.
There you go.
Real Genius, a nerdy movie that both could respect. Also, Yuji Okamoto is in Real Genius. So,
Mhm. There you go.
number two, he has Risky Business, Tom Cruise at his best, and because Rebecca De Mornay is insanely hot. And you know who would like that? Johnny. He would like hot babes in his movies.
Mhm.
So, and number one, okay, interesting because I'm not sure if this is the same movie I'm thinking of. He has at number one, Beaches. I just imagine both Johnny and Daniel being closet fans of this movie and both trying to
What
secretly
was the?
hide
I missed it.
beaches, secretly hide
Beaches?
tears as
Oh,
they watch it together. Beaches, yeah. I was
oh,
thinking it's another movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, but that's The Beach,
that's the beach. Yeah,
right?
that one. Yeah.
Beaches is Bette Midler, Barbara Hershey, John Hurt. I love John Hurt. Um, Spalding Gray, James Reed, Mayim Bialik.
I do think
Um,
people's lists are a little Johnny heavy, in my own opinion.
yeah,
Because he's so into it in the show, we relate to that. But I mean, like in my list, I did try to think of like the movies Daniel would recommend. that he
Yeah,
knows Johnny would enjoy. But so
it's
that's
a
just
Gary
my own
Marshall
just
movie.
hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I mean, hey, it looks like it was a good movie. It's rated, 7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is actually above average for that site.
Mhm.
So something I want to check out now. But no, that's a good list. I just casually mentioned Real Genius earlier, so that's definitely one of my favorites. Val Kilmer is great in it. And oh yeah, right. I interviewed Gabriel Jarrett, who played Mitch. Oh, there's
Oh,
your other tie. Val Kilmer plays Chris, and Gabriel Jarrett plays Mitch.
was
There's your Chris
Mitch,
and Mitch.
Mitch,
Yeah,
and
that's where they
yeah,
got the names for those two
right.
characters.
Hmm.
Um, okay, next one from Kyle. He says the next Karate Kid. So there we go.
There you go. There you
They might
go.
enjoy that one. They might enjoy that one.
Mhm.
Stephanie, she has Top Gun Maverick. I mean, that's just that's a good ass movie. You
Mhm.
know, I really enjoy that one.
I do think
Um,
it came out outside of the current timeline though,
oh, you're
because Cobra
right.
Kai's in 2019 and
Yeah,
actually came
yeah.
out in last year, but
That
it's
was
okay.
probably
We'll allow it. We'll
2021.
allow it. Yeah.
I think maybe even 2021. That movie might have been one of the first ones to return back to the theaters, maybe. Or was that a
Or 2022
was
Maverick
it
came out.
2022? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot that it's 2024 now. You guys,
Yeah, I
wow.
know. Me too. Oh my God.
Oh, that's what happens when they, removed 2 days of the week and added like,
I know. It's
time goes by much faster. She continues Braveheart. Do you think
okay.
Johnny Wood could sit through a Braveheart?
I
I
think it's
mean,
a little long for him. There
little
is like action or
bit
something.
action,
I don't know if he's as interested in like the medieval action and in that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like that's why like I thought he would go for, gangster stuff. Like I feel like Braveheart would be similar to anything sci-fi. Like it's just
right.
not it's action, but it's not his way. I mean, it is a well-made movie.
Sure.
Mel Gibson. So I mean, it's got that going for it. I guess he would watch it and enjoy it, but it's not like his cup of tea. Like
Right.
maybe Daniel recommended that.
Yeah, yeah. I could see that. Maybe he recommends this next
Mhm.
one, Saving Private Ryan, some Tom Hanks. Probably the
Okay.
first mention of a Tom Hanks movie. I did consider
Yeah,
Dragnet in my list, but I figured I felt that might be kind of a blind spot for a lot of people. Did
I
you watch
considered
Dragnet?
Big
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
but
Okay.
no, I haven't seen Dragnet. That one.
That was based off of like the TV show. Actually, I think it's more of a
Yeah, it
continuation because I
was a
believe Dan
TV show.
Aykroyd,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I believe Dan Aykroyd played the nephew of the
Hmm.
original is it Friday?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
really?
Tom Hanks plays like the new like partner, and he's kind of a
Hmm.
like it's very the reason I consider Dragnet is because it's very much Johnny and Daniel from season three, early season
Hmm.
three. So, that kind of dynamic. Saving Private Ryan, maybe, I mean, Johnny's dad served. It's a war
Hmm.
movie. Maybe that one he likes a lot. Number two, The Departed. I mean, that's just a really
Okay.
good movie.
Yeah,
Now,
just a really good movie.
for anybody that if you guys
Mm.
like watching like original movies and that have remakes or don't mind giving remakes a try or finding out that one of their favorite movies is a remake and checking out the original, The Departed is heavily inspired by the Hong Kong uh, crime drama is Infernal Affairs, and there's three parts to it too. And in my opinion, I kind of like Infernal Affairs a little bit better. The Departed is very, very good,
Mhm.
but they do borrow, they kind of rip off like a lot of scenes. It's kind of it's very similar to I I don't want to I don't want people to shit on me for like making this comparison, but it's kind of like the Karate Kid 2010, where like, well, that was well shot and that was well acted. A lot of
Mhm.
things people don't like, but it's like, oh, but it's, this, that, and the other thing. The Departed is very similar. Where you see Infernal, I saw Infernal Affairs first, then I watched The
Mhm.
Departed. I'm like, well, The Departed is very, very good. I love it. But I was like, man, Scorsese said that it wasn't like influenced or inspired, but like you literally ripped scenes right out of that other film. And so if you guys are interested, check out Infernal Affairs. I'm forgetting the year that it came out, but you should be able to find that. And then the number one movie she listed is The Godfather Part Two. I mean, honestly, like one and two, I'm sure they would probably enjoy. Don't
Hmm.
know about that third one. Um, but a very good solid list. And other than The Godfather Part Two, everything else was, I mean, well, Braveheart was what, 98? Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan was also 98?
No, Ryan
No,
was 99, wasn't it?
the late 90s for sure. Maybe even 97. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of curious because um, I'm just because Braveheart won Best Picture, right? And didn't save it
Yeah.
both 98, I guess.
Oh,
Saving Private
98.
Ryan was also
Okay.
98. Braveheart
99.
was
No, 99 was American Beauty. Um,
right.
yeah.
Braveheart. Braveheart was
95?
95. Holy cow, Braveheart
95.
was
Yeah.
95. I don't know why I thought it was 98, but okay, well there you go.
Yeah. I
95,
knew it
great
was
year of
earlier
movies.
than that. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it didn't sound right when it came because I was like, wait a minute, Saving Private Ryan was 98. All right, next one comes from Jennifer C. She says Footloose, which was also mentioned in season three, I feel. Iron Eagle, Tail, and Rocky.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, I could definitely see all of that.
I don't know
Um,
about Footloose, like a
you don't think
musical.
so?
Johnny?
No, okay, that's fair. But but
Yeah.
but Daniel would be all about that Footloose.
Daniel may like it. Yeah.
Daniel would love Footloose because he dances. He dances in every movie.
Johnny would enjoy making fun of Daniel. So,
This is true. This is absolutely true. Yes. Next one comes from Emily B. She says a movie marathon of Roadhouse and Dirty Dancing. I consider Dirty Dancing. No?
it's a girl's film, though.
And
I think Johnny would veto Dirty Dancing.
you
If
think so?
anything, he probably dated a girl or even a couple of girls who, oh, it was my favorite movie. And like they made him watch it because it was their favorite movie. And so if Daniel is going to be like, let's watch Dirty Dancing, Johnny would be like, every chick I ever dated has loved Dirty Dancing. Are you like
You
the
know
chicks
what?
I dated?
I would argue that Johnny is a closet Dirty Dancing fan.
Oh,
And,
Johnny
and,
doesn't
and
like dancing. Remember, I
you,
mean, he didn't want to go dancing with Carmen. I mean,
but
maybe Daniel.
you
Daniel
know,
dancer.
it's well, okay, so when I was thinking Dirty Dancing, I was also thinking like the Cobra guys and their review of Dirty Dancing, which is still probably one of my top movie reviews that they've done.
Oh, I
Actually,
don't
probably
think
one
I've
of my
listened to
favorite.
that one. I need to
Oh, go
listen
back and
to.
check that one out. It's
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorite Dirty Dancing reviews ever that I've ever heard. You know, because they're just love those guys, right?
Yeah,
And they're so
right.
funny. And I was low key surprised that they both really enjoyed it. You know, but I like it. I like it a lot. It's one of my wife's favorite movies, so we watch it often. My daughter, who's now 5, she got into ballet because I used to put that on for her because we like to put on like various well, I like to put on different various movie
Ballets.
clips that have like music, like
Oh, yeah.
dancing and just introducing her to music and stuff.
Hmm.
And so I would do the lift, with her, and we
All
would,
right.
yeah. So, but I was surprised that Mikey and Jeremy both really enjoyed Dirty Dancing as well. So that's why I feel Johnny might be, a closet Dirty Dancing fan because I feel they, that they have a pretty good pulse on Johnny type
Mhm.
movies. See their feed for all the movies that they've been reviewing in this lull. Um,
Well,
and
either way,
so
I
yeah,
think you would admit Johnny wouldn't admit to liking it.
no, no,
Like
no,
you
but
said, closet. So even if someone said, "How about Dirty Dancing?" he would feel obligated to make fun of that person.
he
Um,
would say some things, but he would be
yeah,
sitting there watching it and
yeah,
probably mouthing quotes instead of like saying it out loud.
yeah.
He'd be mouthing like nobody puts baby in the corner. He would totally. um, she continues, the hill I will die on is my contention that Robbie's middle name is Swayze because Shannon was thinking of Johnny Castle and Johnny was thinking of John Dalton.
Hmm.
See that? Okay, you know what? It just occurred to me. Yeah, both Patrick Swayze movies. And our very last one is from Suma. She says in Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze's character's first name is James. Oh, she's saying James Dalton, maybe. That could maybe that's what she means. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So she was just making a correction. All right. So that is I just remember his name is Dalton. So there you go. Well, any thoughts on the list? I think they nailed it, and there was definitely I think the majority of those probably crossed my mind.
Yeah, I would say most of them, definitely more than half. I mean, which just shows like how well we all know these characters. we can all just sort of, what would he love? And then we all coming up with the same answers.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. And on the next episode, it will be my pick. And I forgot what I had originally, like a few times ago, and then I kind of changed it at the last minute. But it's so I'm not doing that one because I don't remember. But the other one that I have in mind is going to be so for our next topic is going to be top five shocking moments from Cobra Kai. So shocking moments. So anytime you saw something that you were shocked, I'm gonna go with you make your own list, any interpretation of shocking moments, and I'll reveal how I compiled my list on that next episode. Um,
Okay.
watch
We
party,
already did
yeah,
cliffhangers because that
we
was like the
did.
first one. So it's just but not a shocking cliffhanger because that's
Correct.
because we already did
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And hey, you know what? If you want to recycle some of those cliffhangers and say they are
Mm,
shocking,
oh, all
I
right.
can't I
Okay.
can't fault you for that. So anything that's shocking. Watch Party, you've released a few videos since we've last recorded. Do you want to mention them and what you might
What have
be?
we put out? I put out
There was something about you wanted. I don't know if it was a correction. Was it something that you kind of wanted to put out that there was a like a misunderstanding out there in the?
Oh, I did put out a video about like Mike Barnes and Sean Kanan. And that was sort of a broader video just going through leaks and not leaks. Sometimes stuff gets out and people jump to conclusions or something, and what is and wasn't is not, or actual leaks or something. And I'm just trying to go through. So yeah, there's the video. It's got Mike Barnes on the thumbnail, and it's about him and all the Cobra Kai leaks stuff from Sean Kanan. I put out a video about the Karate Kid and who is the next Karate Kid. I reveal it in this video. It's a good one. So there's that. I put out a Stranger Things video too the other day. So if you're interested in Stranger Things, check out my channel too. So there's stuff to keep you up to date on that.
Also, you're being a little. I don't know if modest is the right word here, but you also started another project called Learn Party. I believe you have
Yes, I
two
did.
videos.
I
Two
didn't even
videos.
think it. It's got a couple of videos and some shorts. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
mm,
actually, you have more shorts than videos.
yeah.
I have not checked out all the shorts. I think I might have seen like one or two, but I watched both videos.
Oh, you
Like
did.
basically, yeah. But basically, let me see. Like, was it what to do, how to get a date, and then
Yeah, and then First Date Success was the first one.
ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I've been thinking. Yeah. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the reason I brought that up not only because they're funny, but you draw like examples, a lot of them from Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid, but
Mhm.
other similar type movies, or just maybe 80s, or there's you use visuals from pop culture too,
Yeah,
to
which is
kind
the
of
point, right?
give
Yeah,
advice. So, but yeah,
and
talk a
telling
little
a
bit more
story.
about that. I had a good time watching those videos.
I'm glad it's not really targeted for you because Mr. Married Father of Five, but
Right.
some of the
It
other
was
stuff
fun. It was fun. I
would
was trying
go
to
along.
imagine like if I was
Yeah,
single again, like
yeah.
could this work for me? It's kind of how I was going through it. Yeah.
The video came a little bit out of, Watch Party was always going to be like the theories and analysis to stuff you guys know and love. But like for some of you, remember, like I have a video, Dimitri's dating do's and don'ts. A lot of people really liked that one. And some other videos explaining things using examples from the show to explain like concepts in dating and like a little legitimate like advice. So like doing something like that, like on its own separate channel has always been on my mind. And this is something I've been kind of working on in the background for a while. And so I just started the channel a couple of weeks ago. Just slowly getting some videos out, right? Like you said, it's not all going to be dating. I do want to just, get into some other stuff. But what happened was I was actually going to do something else, but that 5 tips for first day success, I actually got a comment from someone who I don't think has ever watched Watch Party because he's never like I don't recognize him from ever commenting on my main channel, but he's like, oh man, this is really good. I've watched it twice. Like he watched it twice already. like that video, and it's like, and he's the one asked me, can you do something about like how to get a date? Like, so that, there's been some positive reception to that. It's small because you always got to start small, but that's so I was happy to oblige him and go for that. So we're gonna just keep going, and like I said, it won't all be dating advice, but that's kind of what some people like. I got a little early reaction to that, so I wanted to sort of lean into that. So learn party, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Check it out. I subscribed myself. I
You
can't wait
did. I
to,
saw it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got the
yeah.
notification.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there we go. Well, the other projects that I've also working on, if you guys are looking for more companion type stuff, if you didn't, for those that don't know, I also am one of the hosts of Twisted Metal Companion, and we've had a few interviews recently, and my co-host Tyler is under the weather right now, but as soon as he gets well, we have our episode two review to do after that. So we're finally going to get back to doing the episode reviews. It was on hiatus because Obliterated, where Watch Party joins me, and
Hmm.
we mentioned the previous episode. Sadly, it was canceled after one season, but we will continue to do the episode reviews and maybe some interviews along the way. But we have no canceling that the until we're done with the episode reviews, and there's 8 episodes, so it won't take us too long. But those are some things to check out. The show is still very good. It's just unfortunate that they didn't get renewed for season two. So
Hmm.
if you missed the train on that, don't let that discourage you. The news that it got canceled, it wasn't because it was a bad show. It was a really good
Season
show. It was
one is
number one.
standalone. You can watch it
So
and
good.
enjoy it
It
on its
is.
own.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
You're absolutely right. Like there's it's kind of like season 5 of Cobra Kai, right? Like
Hmm.
it could end right there, but they
Hmm.
can also continue on had they been greenlit. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's still very good, still very funny, and we have episode reviews coming up when we can get to those. So Watch Party can be found on social media at Watch Party One on X and Instagram, and you just do a search for Companion Network on Instagram, and you can find all the links to the other things I do there as well. So yeah, we will catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.